Welcome to Link by Golf. I'm your host Ross McGuire, and this is the show that connects the journeys of people to the great game of golf that we love. Quick shout out before we dive in. I'd like to thank TrueLinkswear for their support of the show. Check them out at truelinkswear.uk for shoes that will truly help you enjoy the walk. Today I'm joined by Jamie and Barrie Lewis, the brothers behind Crun Golf. They've focused the brand on golf merchandise that is fun, fresh, and comes from a family who love the game. We talk about their history, their products, their love of football, and what it takes to run a family business that's truly connected to the local community. Let's get over to the show. On this week's podcast, I am delighted to be joined by Crun Golf. Jamie and Barrie, how you doing, guys? Thanks for coming on.
Good, Ross. Thanks very much for having us.
Aye, thanks for having us, Ross. Nice to see you.
And we've jumped straight into the brand name there. So where did the brand name come from? I'd love to know about Crun Golf and its origins. Tell me all about that, guys.
Nice and simple. Its origin came from our favourite watering hole in Linlithgow, where we would spend many nights talking about what we wanted to do going forward with the brand and stuff like that. And we were obviously looking for a catchy name. It kind of had a eureka moment and say, well, why don't we name it after the place where we kind of came up with the initial idea? And that's been us, Crun Golf.
Fantastic. And how do you, in terms of people that are from the area and know you guys, how do you find it resonates with them? What do they think?
I think we get it. I think that it's where a lot of our friends meet. It's where we all have a laugh. It's where our old football team that we used to both play for went back to after games and spent our Saturday nights and sometimes our Sunday afternoons as well. So locally, it resonates. I think it's probably a wee bit more difficult the first time that we say it to anyone who's not from Linlithgow. Is it Crun? Is it Crun? But generally, once they hear it once, it sticks. Kind of usually give them the backstory as well.
It makes for a good talking point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to say, guys, in your early days, because you've been going for a few years now, in your early days, did that environment help you? Did you feel like you had the support of people just through the fact the brand kind of came from that pub that you came up with a name in?
I would say so, yeah. So the support we've had from our friends in the kind of local community around Bowness, where I stay, and Linlithgow, and kind of round about the area, generally West Lothian, because I obviously play a lot of golf and know a lot of people. The support we've had from the kind of local area has been fantastic. It's really helped us kind of establish a brand. Obviously, we're trying to take that national or even further, hopefully, but definitely we don't forget the people that helped us out in the first place.
Absolutely. And the thing I need to point out for folks is that you guys are brothers. So we'll start with Jamie. Jamie, how did you get into golf, and what's your background before you get into having this brand with Crun?
Yeah, I think we both got golf clubs put in our hands pretty early from my dad. I can always mind getting a half set of Ben Sayers. Must have been about 6 or 7 year old for probably a Christmas, I think it was. So I remember that. Kind of golf really kicked off for us about 99 when Bridgend Golf Club opened.
Yeah,
our dad and his pals built the golf course and the clubhouse. It was my dad's best pal, George Green's idea, and I think this is the right story. He had the idea after a night out in a different pub, the New Inn, which is no longer in Bridgend. It's now 4 houses.
You see how pubs have got a lot to do with our life, Ross.
So he had the idea, and I believe that one Sunday morning, really early, he got up and walked out what he'd had the idea the night before. Whether it was a dream or whether it was a late night idea, I'm not sure. But it was, you used to remember it, Bridgend, Ross, you know exactly where it is, but it was previously was an old tip, basically. It was
like mining works and stuff like that, wasn't it?
Right.
But he went and walked what he thought could potentially become a golf course. And it must have been a dream because I remember that in that pub, he actually pinned a sheet up on the notice board with "It's only a dream." And then it wasn't. it took legs, and we done a lot of fundraising and what have you.
I think there was a local councillor, wasn't there?
Jimmy
McGinley.
Yeah.
So he really got behind the project as well and flung his weight behind it.
Yeah. And so, like I say, fast forward 4 years worth of the guys building it after their shifts at whatever work they did.
Because there wasn't anybody working like full time on the golf course. It was all like just borrowed time basically. After working that.
So it's a real community project then, like a true community project.
Maybe 12, 15 guys all mucking in, and they were all generally tradesmen or had experience on machines, etc. And then say fast forward 4 or 5 years, club opened in '99, and
officially, because we had a wee spell in '98, didn't we?
Summer, right. And we're never off the golf course then. That was growing up.
Yeah.
That's funny, because I joined in 2000 and played it for a year in 2002, so it was only just Brad. I didn't even know that.
You wouldn't recognise it nowadays, or a lot's changed even in the more recent years, but obviously it was really quite immature when you were there. The trees would still be just planted.
The saplings and stuff,
It was only 2 or 3 years before that there was nothing there.
And I tell you what, it's a tough wee 9-holer, especially a couple of holes when you get towards the end, up and down like valleys and slopes and stuff. It's pretty tough for the back tees.
It was a tight wee course, that's for sure. Yeah.
The 18th was a hard finisher with the potential for slicing down the back of the clubhouse. So you could get your card quite quickly.
Absolutely.
That was great. It was great. When I was younger, that was pretty much where I played. A few wee bits of away golf competitions, and did a wee bit of the Lothians junior coaching work. I think that was primarily because we were quite a new golf club, and it was kind of including new courses into the programme. I wouldn't say that was ever particularly great.
I can't remember how we got. I can remember obviously doing the coaching, but I can't remember how we got involved in it, to be perfectly honest with you. But
that's about as far as my golf went. After that, went away for a few years, played football, and then as an adult kind of came back and was a member at Bathgate for a good few years. Loved it there. Great course, great club. Made loads of good friends there. But kind of life overtook the kids coming along, and the opportunity to play golf lessened a wee bit. So now pretty much just a bit of a social golfer, but hoping to kind of change that over the next few years and get back into playing more regularly.
Brilliant. And what about yourself, Barry? I'm guessing pretty similar to Jamie, but what about yourself in terms of progression with golf and getting into it?
So you hit the nail on the head. Exact same in terms of origins. I'm 3 years younger than Jamie, so I probably stuck at it just that wee bit longer, and I had more school holidays involved in those summer months. So I probably spent a good 5 or 6 years just constantly playing the golf course. And well, you've seen Bridgend yourself, there's not an awful lot else to do. So I was lucky that the golf course came along, to be perfectly honest, because I don't know what else I could have done, to be fair.
Well, a big clubhouse, to be fair. I'm sure it had a pool table in it as well.
Fantastic guy. It was.
That was lottery funded as well, actually matched funding, so it was a cracking big clubhouse.
It was beautiful. So from there, I actually had a wee spell of time away for the game. Similar, Jamie actually started a football team, and we all kind of got involved in that. And I was getting to that age where you drift away from it sometimes. So I was probably about 18, 19 when I kind of drifted away from it. And then it would probably be about 4 or 5 years after that, I got back into it. I was settling down with my girlfriend, who is now my wife. So settled in, thought I'd pick the clubs back up. By this point, I was staying down in Bo'ness. So I joined West Lothian, which is just 5 minutes up the road.
It's a great, absolutely brilliant golf course as well, Barry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Thoroughly enjoy being up there. The views and stuff are absolutely fantastic. Kind of panoramic right across the Forth Valley and stuff, all the way up to Wallace Monument up at Stirling, all the way down to North Berwick actually on a clear day. So it's cracking. It's great. So started back, got the bug for it. I think that when I started back, I was playing off of 5. Briefly went up to 6, which Jamie was delighted about because it meant for the first time in 15 years we shared the same handicap. That was a bit of motivation for myself to get my finger at my bum and started tumbling back down. That was good. Just steady progression from there. I got back involved with the kind of county stuff that I had taken part in my junior years. Started doing reasonably well in some of these events, semi-finals, county championships, playing well in the order of merit, and ended up getting involved in the kind of the team setup for that, that's been great. I've really thoroughly enjoyed my time playing with some of the boys. Most of them are predominantly from East Lothian and are great players. So I feel like that's kind of helped take my game to a different level as well, playing alongside these guys and seeing what it takes to be good at the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to dig back in for both of you, the football thing. So one thing I do remember from being a member at Bridgend was, and this was true also at Deer Park, I would say, there was lots of guys that played amateur football and maybe semi-professional or junior, as we'd call it in Scotland. So what was the team? Was it a team in Bridgend?
It was Bridgend United. So
Bridgend United, brilliant.
There had been a Bridgend United up to, I think it was 1990 or something. I remember seeing them a wee bit when I was a wee boy.
It would have certainly been the early 90s, but I can just about remember.
So maybe the early 90s. But there hadn't been a team in the village. Barrie alluded to there was not very much in the village happening. And we'd taken to playing amateur football. Barrie was playing amateur football very young. I think he was probably 16
going on 17.
And I'll be honest, I kind of got to the point of, well, if I'm going to play amateur football, I would rather play out my own village rather than up in Bathgate. We went to school in Blackburn near Bathgate, and we were playing for the local pub team up there.
Right.
Again, just conversations in the golf club where all our friends congregated. All the boys that were playing football, kind of still at that stage, said, well, we could do it. And then you're like, nah, it'd be too much hassle. But then the idea was planted, and then I think that was about Christmas time in 2005. But then we started playing in the 2006 season. And it was great. It was brilliant. We started off Murder. I remember that we got beat 8-0 in our first match away to Red Hall Star. But kind of skip forward. It's not a football podcast, but I remember the next game, maybe the tail end of the next game season, we beat them 6-2 at Arrain Park. So it was kind of
actually, I'll correct you there. It was actually the tail end of that very season.
Was it?
Wow.
Season. But we had the home advantage. This park that we played on in Bridgend, it sloped like in 2 different directions.
Hopefully not as much as the golf course.
I mean, it would have probably gave it a run for its money, to be fair, Ross.
I think it was something like 15 foot end to end or something like that. It was a huge slope.
It was a huge slope.
15 feet slope, no way.
It was in 2 directions as well. It's from far end to goal to goal, and also corner to corner. It was quite the slope. It was quite something.
So I think when they came along, they didn't really know what they'd let themselves in for, and we took full advantage of that and managed to redress the balance from earlier on in the season.
But the real link to the golf is that there was no changing facilities for football in Bridgend, because the old community centre, which had the change rooms, had since become a primary school. So the changing was Bridgend Golf Club. So the away team and the referee would change in the men's locker room, and we commandeered the ladies' locker room because there was no lady members or very little at that point. So we had our own set up.
It's looking back on it, you have a bit of a laugh about it, but that's what we've done. It was great.
And the football pitch, is that down where the shop is in the main street? So
no. There used to be a football pitch there, a smaller one. The football pitch is at the back of the school, so at the very top of the village. So on the road out, a bus turning circle, and this primary school, it's in behind there. You would never see it if you didn't know it was there, to be honest.
But that's is that not a bit of a distance? Did you have to go cross country to get to that
That
from
was
the golf
that was
club?
the other thing. Yes, aye.
Bandit country. Yeah, you had to walk from the golf club through one
One of
cul-de-sac.
the residential areas, and then up through what can only be described as Boondy. Just a very small trail path, and then it opened up and had this horrendously sloped football park. However, it was very well manicured by myself because I used to be a greenkeeper.
No way.
And at the time, I was working at Kingsfield, just on the
Right.
outskirts of Linlithgow. And Robert, being as generous as he is, he used to let me take one of the moors from Kingsfield up to the top end of Bridgend, which is maybe 2.5, 3 miles along quite a busy road.
Aye.
And I used to have the beautiful stripes and a very hilly pitch.
Well, before it exists somewhere, I bet there was some cracking design.
I used
So
to.
wait a minute, you taking a fairway moor from Kingsfield on the road?
Oh, not a fairway moor, a rough moor.
All right, so just put on the back of a tractor.
No, I used to drive it up the road.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was great. Great fun. Probably a bit illegal, but
I'm just picturing that you said about home advantage. You're not joking, home advantage. Wow.
It was good fun.
We ended up getting a decent team and being pretty good away from home as well. But we certainly enjoyed the home advantage.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I bet you the good cup runs when you had home draws.
Exactly. It was good times.
Good laugh. Like I say, we had the golf club on hand for going back to after games, but then as it evolved, we got some sponsorship from Crun in Linlithgow, and so we would, after we'd been at the golf club, we would take the guys down to Linlithgow. Colin was really generous with us down there.
Looked after us on the nights out and stuff like that as well.
It was great. Brilliant. And so that was us. And then fast forward a wee bit, the golf club changed hands, and it's actually not actually a golf course as such anymore. It's like one of these foot golf and golf situations, like the greens are AstroTurf, etc. So a lot of the guys from the village now head down to Linlithgow. Basically, it's not the same setup that when they built it. Basically,
Right.
So Linlithgow's always been the place that people from Bridgend go down to anyway. And honestly, it's only 2.5 miles or so.
Yeah.
So a lot of the guys that we grew up knowing and been friends with go down there. So that's kind of like always been our home venue since.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And then just digging into the football thing, guys, I mean, that was my impression. I'm from Motherwell, and I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of guys at Bovill Park where I was a member who did play football, like amateur, maybe professional, and then got really into golf. But to me, when I was in West Lothian at Deer Park, I'd never known so many. Like, there was a huge number, and the same at Bridgend. Am I making that up, or do you think that is something in West Lothian that's even more true?
I'd totally say that. I mean, I think it's changing nowadays. I think like amateur football's tailing off nowadays.
Right.
When we were younger and playing, there were 7 leagues in the Lothians on a Saturday, like 3 levels, 7 leagues. On a Sunday, there used to be 2 different sets of Sunday leagues. There was the West Lothian district and the Livingston, West Lothian and the Livingston district. Sorry,
Yeah.
it was
Wow.
hotbed of football, to be honest.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm quite out of touch with it all now. Since we stopped kind of running that team, I think we had a couple of years away up to like a Badgate doing some amateur stuff as well. But it became quite apparent I was starting to get the bug for golf again. So that kind of the football had to kind of fall by the wayside, and I've never really took much interest in that since, to be honest.
I guess that kind of thing. Amateur football is that kind of thing. I find anyway, you tend to move away from as you all start getting older and married, kids, etc. All the pals tend to get older at the same time, so your priorities shift and your time becomes more limited.
And as good as the football was, the thing that probably tied it all together nicely was the social side of things, and the kind of watching your coupon fall by the wayside afterwards, and then go out on the night out afterwards and stuff like that, and talk about the game and whatnot, and away and enjoy yourself. That was probably
That best bit.
the best bit about the whole thing.
I'd like to thank Oliver Wilson and True Links Wear UK for sponsoring the show. Let's hear from Ollie now.
The OG3 Pro is the natural evolution of the OG range. We have a wide toe box that allows your foot to work naturally and your toes display. We have a cushioned zero drop platform. It's flexible, minimalist to allow you to feel the ground. It's waterproof and an aggressive spikeless outsole. And of course, it's tour tested.
And I think that, I mean, you guys, you know, I'm making this up in my own mind, but the thing I always thought was that golf was a replacement for that activity that was really regular and together with other people. Is that what you guys would have said with the other folk? Because obviously you were into golf before anyway, but for your friends that maybe weren't into golf and played more football then started playing golf, did you find that they were looking for that kind of regular contact with other guys and just having a laugh and a good time?
Absolutely.
I would say so. Like that was particularly my experience at Bathgate. The amount of guys that I know at Bathgate Golf Club that I've played football with or against over the years. So, I totally agree with that.
Probably had zero interest in golf growing up, but then maybe had a wee shot at it and realised that it wasn't as daft as it looked, sort of thing. I would say the same down at West Lothian. I can think of a good number of guys who probably didn't touch a club growing up, but have just been completely bitten by the bug, and are there 2, 3 times, 4 times a week, and not just playing golf, but starting to excel at it as well. Like I think there's probably something in the whole hand-eye coordination can be. I heard in one of your podcasts a good term for it was a South African boy who's a caddy. He says about being ball smart, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. If you've played other ball sports, it does give you kind of half a foot in the right direction, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I played with a couple of guys, especially at Deer Park, and one of them would always be saying to me, "Oh, your swing's really good," and I'm like, "George, you're playing off +1 and you're absolutely slapping me about here. I don't think you need to worry about your golf swing." But he'd played amateur football, I think, and maybe even junior at a really good level. And just for the listeners, everybody in Scotland, like anywhere else, plays football. But what I'm talking about is people that actually are committed to a team every weekend and have got, maybe 11 to 15 guys that play in a regular league and all that kind of stuff. It's not just, we kick a ball around the park. You're talking about folk that are committed to like going with their mates and playing against other teams, right? That is slightly different.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'll be honest, that's what I preferred about the football rather than the actual football. Was the kind of the being around the guys and being part of something.
Oh, I like some of the laughs you'd have on the nights out, but even just before the games in the dressing room and just the meeting up and stuff like that. It was fantastic.
So you can see where the golf is. Just for that, you can be having that all your way around your golf. As well as in the clubhouse.
Exactly.
So in terms of Crun then, so obviously the brand came together, you've been working on it. What would you say are the favourite parts of running what you're doing between you?
Oh, that's a good question.
For me, it's the creative side. I love that. I've been involved in design and manufacture of sport teamwear, namely football for starters, kind of evolved into the golf side. I'm probably a bit of an overthinker in terms of the design side, so I get into the weeds, but I enjoy it. It's different to my day job, as kind of discussed earlier on. Work in change management, a bit more dry. Certainly helped my visual diagrams over the years, right enough. But I love that side of things, and dealing with people, to be honest, as well. Like taking somebody's initial idea and turning it into something tangible that they can that they appreciate. It's quite fulfilling.
I would agree with that. That's certainly my favourite part of it. Obviously, we've got our own kind of stock design. Stock designs. It's great. It's always a buzz to see people buying your stock designs because it means that you're onto something. But having that interaction with somebody and saying, "Well, this is what I want, or I don't know quite what I want, but I want these elements, and then you put that down on some sort of design for them, let them see it, they love it, and then you actually manufacture that accessory for them, and then they're just blown away by it when they get it in their hands. That'll never like yourself, Ross. Yeah, like yourself. That'll never get old. That's fantastic, and it's really rewarding, and you get a great deal of satisfaction out of it.
It's a good one. Just Barry touches on with your stuff. Being in a position to be able to do something for someone as well, it's quite rewarding. Barry had reached out to you just to see if there's anything we could do together, and when you were saying you were doing me a logo, it was something to use our skills in to actually help someone.
Yeah, because I was in the gym when I was listening to one of your podcasts, and I can't remember which one it was, but you had happened to mention that you were a member at Bridgend. Now, I'd been listening to your podcast for a wee while by this point, and then when you said that, I was like,
I didn't realise that.
I was like, I've got to message you because now we've got something in common, and like Bridgend alumni. So
that would have been that. I think that would have been the pod with Brian McLaughlin, because he was talking about Kingsfield, and I'd said, "Oh, I used to play at Bridgend," and he was like, "You played golf at Bridgend?" I'm like, "Yeah, I lived in Bowness for a year, so it was the closest golf course, and I used the range at Kingsfield, and I didn't even realise how early on that was for Kingsfield as well."
Yeah, that would have been what, the mid-90s that they started, I believe.
Yeah, so it was 2002. We lived in Bowness, and then I started using the driving range because it was, apart from anything else, it was the best one in the area, but it happened to be like 2 miles from the house. And then I was just looking for a golf course, and West Lothian was quite hard to get into, and I thought, I'll just keep my membership at Colville Park, and I'll join somewhere else so I can play.
Perfect, aye. But that was the kind of niche for Bridgend at the time, because at that stage there was a lot of places had long waiting lists. So it's quite a cost-effective way of running down the waiting list, just biding your time, joining there for a year or two, and then moving on to wherever it was you were looking to go in the first place, sort of thing.
Yeah, and then I just want to say, like, really clearly, guys, thanks so much. Like, Barry, you mentioned there you were listening to the podcast and you reached out and asking me if I wanted any merch, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And then I think I'd said to both of you, oh, I need to get a logo together. And eventually I just thought, why don't I just ask if the guys could create a logo? Which seemed incredibly cheeky, but you were really kind to do that for me, and it's been fantastic, and I can't thank you enough for it.
You're more than welcome, Ross. We're delighted to help out. Absolutely delighted. We love what you're doing with the podcast. Some of the guests have been fantastic. The stories are fantastic. Really enjoy it. So, no, we're more than happy to help out where we can, pal.
It's a pleasure. It's a bit of a head scratcher trying to think how we would fit golf and links into a logo. So it's quite good to see it come together.
Maybe I should have thought about that before I came up with the name. I don't know.
The name's great. It's just how we could capture it in something that would fit on a thumbnail. But yeah, I think it's worked.
Yeah. So the thing I wanted to ask as well, guys, so other folk that you're working with, if you're able to name some of them, I'd love to just get some of those names out there as well. I know that you do, and it's public, it's on your Instagram, but you've been working with Kingsfield, so what other places are you working with at the moment?
So I think it kind of comes from Kingsfield was a bit of a start as well. Say Barry worked there, we've been friends with Robert for a lot of years. Yeah, he's always been very kind to us.
Robert and the whole Arkley family, really, they've played a big part in our kind of life, really. As I say, I was employed by them as a greenkeeper, and obviously spent a lot of time there on golf-wise as well, on the driving range, and then latterly on the golf course. So great people, very generous with their time. So that's where it kind of
started. Natural first partnership, to be honest. So the other partners we've got, Stephen Gallagher Foundation, again, based in Kingsfield. So that's been great.
Very proud of that one. Really, because obviously the great work they do with junior golf. Obviously that's where we started within junior golf, and to be able to give a little bit back to that, it's really kind of fulfilling for us, isn't it?
It's brilliant. And the guys there are always brilliant to deal with as well.
Scott and Stuart,
they were great. David Burns, Barry's coach, at Kingsfield as well. Done work with him. We also partnering with at the minute. Talk about.
There are a couple irons in the fire that we've not really got over the line yet, but I suppose we've got our professional partnerships as well with Joe Bryce.
That's a really exciting one for us. So with Joe Bryce and Connor Wilson, two kind of up and coming pros on the Tartan Pro Tour. So we do.
Oh, brilliant! That's awesome.
So we've kind of tried to put together a system or a partnership agreement, if you will, so that we can produce ranges of accessories for these players that are trying to get a start. It's quite an expensive start to try and play on these satellite tours, that they can have their own range of accessories that they can promote to their supporters, sponsors, family, etc., that people can feel like they're buying in and supporting them. And we give an enhanced commission back to the player. There's absolutely no commitment from them required financially. They can use our print-on-demand services and print manufactured services. So basically, if someone orders something, we quickly make it up within 3 to 4 days and ship it for them. We don't even touch it. We just give them a commission report and then send them over the funds. So
hopefully it goes towards, well, hopefully it's enough to help sustain their life on tour, whether it be pay some expenses or help them get into tournaments, because obviously these things aren't cheap to enter either.
I had a bit of when I began to hear how big the entry fees are for things like the Tartan Pro Tour, Dutch Tour down south, I know is even more expensive, and there's joining fees. So just
some of them, I think some of them I've seen a lot of different numbers. I think Europro was 500 an entry. There's a few down here, and some are 250, some are 400, and as you say, there's a membership fee. So every time, and I think it's important for people to know that the guys who are on these satellite tours, like, it's really tough. For one thing, they're up against a lot of really good other players, but financially they are really in a tough spot. And I think what's really nice with what you're doing there is that those players, rather than feeling like they're just asking for money from people, they can say, hey, go and buy this merchandise and that'll support me. So it's not necessarily them feeling like they're saying, oh, just dig in your pockets and hand me some cash. The people are getting something back as well.
They're not having to go cap in hand. It's just hopefully the people that support them are getting a benefit because they're getting some nice accessories for their golf bag as well. So everybody wins.
See, it's just a bit of a kind of small acorn idea at the minute. We're trying to develop it, but hopefully it can help the players develop some sort of community feel for themselves as well, a team, if you want to call it that, behind them, that they can support. And like I say, it's only a small contribution to what their expenses. Like say, I think the entry fees are 250 to 400. I think that sometimes if it's an entry fee, the membership fee of the tour, it's probably a couple of grand more. So not under any illusions it's going to cover all their expenses, but every little helps.
As long as it helps them out in some fashion, we're more than happy to help with that. And the guys, I must say, they've been very good with us as well. They've been helping us out in the kind of social media side of things, obviously trying to get our name out there, and they've been generous with their time when we've been asking them to come along and do some video work or some photographs and all that. The two of them, Connor and Joe, have both been fantastic for us, I've got to say.
And again, that's where Kingsfield have been great again. They give us the facility to go and film some content, both out on the golf course, on the driving range, and even in the Stephen Gallagher Centre of Excellence as well. So it's a bit of a kind of circular bit of teamwork for our partners, ourselves, players.
I know the guys from Top Golf Scotland, I know they did a video recently at Kingsfield. I can't remember if it's been released, but I know they certainly recorded at Kingsfield recently, and they were saying the course is looking absolutely awesome. I've not played it for probably 14 years, and it was pretty good then, but they were saying that at the moment it's just phenomenal. It's absolutely brilliant. Best greens they've seen pretty much all year as well.
That seems to be. I've not played it for a wee while myself, but obviously I talk to a lot of people, and that seems to be the report I'm getting back from most. Is it's in absolutely fantastic condition. So
They grabbed the old greenkeeper from Bathgate.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
Aye,
so I'm not surprised because Bathgate was all.
Aye, he always had that immaculate. To be fair, yeah. So it's good to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, guys, I'd love you to talk about the specific type items that you can make, because just want to bring that to life as well. So you sent me two very lovely tools, which are awesome, two different designs. You sent me an alignment stick cover, which looks lovely, and a head cover. But what kind of things can you make for people? I'd love to hear about that as well.
Yeah, sure. So obviously the head cover we sent you was our cylinder style. We do multiple types of head cover, cylinders, mitten styles. Your putter covers were just
kind of knocked that one on the head, haven't we?
Aye,
Perfected it.
we've done a lot of work on that in the summer. Something that was clearly missing from our range to have putter covers, so that's now up and running. Obviously you've got the tools as well. We do valuables, pouches. We've just finished developing a scorecard holder as well, which is probably a bit over-engineered, but what it does is it lends itself to our process, so we can do everything in-house, which is good. And then we've just started to dip our toes back into the apparel side of things. So talking about Kingsfield again, they had their annual charity tournament at the weekend, Katie's Cup. So we did some of our own accessories for that. Then one of the teams was after a kind of special team outfit, because that's all the different teams tend to match up. The 4 players. So we've done a Happy Gilmore inspired.
Oh, brilliant! That's awesome.
Yeah, so you'll see that on our social media.
Inspired, not copied, Ross.
Inspired. That's always good fun and kind of lends itself well to the kind of mad background and teamwear. But I would like to do more of that, because we don't want to be one of these. We're never going to be one of these high-end golf brands based on the performance wear, but the more team and kind of fun orientated gear, that something that would lend itself well to our process.
Yeah, I'd say we're definitely trying to kind of develop a sense of community more than anything. We know what we are, we know what we aren't, shall we say. We're still probably trying to define what we are, but we know what we're not going to be. So that's a good enough starting point for us. We'll work it back from there. But I would certainly like to dip our toes more into the apparel side of things as well. Now that we feel we've got a kind of accessory range that we can be proud of, we would like to start moving forward with the apparel side of it.
And so where are all these things manufactured? How do you do that? Just to give the listeners insight as well.
So that's the thing that we're really proud of. Everything's made in West Lothian. And we've just in the last couple of months taken on a new unit in Linlithgow. So before very much longer, everything will be made in Linlithgow, which is even better.
Wow.
That's all the way from printing onto our specialist papers, right through into heat pressing everything onto the fabrics that we use to make our accessories, and then right through to sewing and shipping. So it all happens here in West Lothian, which is great. We've got full control, and that's what allows us to kind of not have to run with bulk orders sourced from offshore, etc. So we can be as flexible to do things like our pro player partnerships, and actually with all our partnerships and even our retail sales on the website.
Fantastic. That's really cool. I mean, it's just brilliant to hear about two guys from Scotland, for Bridgend, setting up a business and making it all in Scotland as well. That's awesome. Brilliant to hear.
Thanks, Ross. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, guys, if people want to find out more about Crun Golf, where can they find you? How are they going to get in touch and find out more about all the apparel you can make? The custom accessories that you're talking about, you've been doing for a long time. How would they get in touch?
So the best ways are probably Instagram and Facebook. Just get us on Crun Golf, nice and simple. Maybe not so simple for the people that don't know how to spell it, because it's we kind of went down a road of trying to be a wee bit fancy, and at one point we didn't realise it was going to cause a bit of an issue in terms of how people pronounced it and how they spelt it.
So how you do spell it is CRUN, so it's Crun Golf on both Facebook and Instagram. You can always shoot us an email as well on info@crungolf.com, which is also the website.
Fantastic. So guys, listen, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks again for putting together a logo for this podcast. I'm so appreciative, and accessories you sent me this week are just looking awesome. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and thanks for coming on.
No, it was a pleasure, Ross. Thanks very much for having us, Paul.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Ross.
That's it for this episode of Link by Golf. Thanks again to Jamie and Barrie Lewis for sharing the Crun Golf story. Their approach to golf merchandise is fun, fresh and rooted in family and community, and it was a real pleasure to dig into their journey. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please share the podcast with a friend, subscribe and leave a review. It really helps more people connect to the show. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Lomond Golf Tours have helped thousands of guests build bespoke golf trips to create a magical experience. Travel in style, whether executive chauffeur travel, whether it's golf on a major championship venue or one of our hidden gems, 5-star accommodation or a boutique bed and breakfast, or is it whiskey tasting on a private boat? Lomond Golf Tours are here to help build the tour of a lifetime. Whether you're celebrating a special occasion or ticking it off your bucket list, embark on a trip that you'll remember forever. To learn more about our offerings for 2025 and beyond, visit www.lomondgolftours.com.